Today, we are diving into what the source material is calling one of the most powerful breakout signals you could find for a stock called BMNR. All the evidence seems to be pointing towards a potential $60 price target, and in this explainer, we're going to break it all down, piece by piece.
Everything, and I mean everything in this story really hinges on this one number, 47 million. That's the number of shares of BMNR that were traded in a single day. According to the analysis, if you can understand this number, you've got the key to the entire story.
You know, a volume spike like that, it's not just a bunch of retail traders getting excited. The analysis calls this a seismic event, the kind of unmistakable footprint that Wall Street's biggest players leave behind when they make a massive, coordinated move. So that leads to the big question, right? What did they see that made them all pile in at once?
To answer that, we've got to start by decoding that massive volume spike. We're going to look at what set it off, how it stacks up against a normal trading day, and, this is crucial, we're going to look at the quality of that volume, because as you're about to see, not all trading volume is created equal.
And this rate here really puts it all into perspective. On an average day, BMNR was trading about, say, 17 million shares. Pretty standard stuff. Then, on December 8th, bam, 47 million. That's nearly 3 times the average. That's not just noise, that's a signal. So what on earth happened? Well, the source material makes it pretty clear. This massive explosion in volume happened on the exact same day that BMNR announced a huge 97,000 Ethereum token purchase, worth nearly $200 million. They were seriously beefing up their assets, and the market definitely noticed.
And this slide perfectly illustrates what we mean by the quality of that volume. Check this out. The day before, on December 7th, 28 million shares traded hands as the price collapsed. That's panic selling. But the very next day, 47 million shares drove the price higher. That's the polar opposite. That's not panic, that's pure conviction. The analysis says this is a classic sign of big institutions just soaking up all the shares they can get.
And here are the numbers to prove it. For every one share that was sold that day, buyers came in with the force of 3.2 shares to absorb it. A buy-to-sell ratio of over 3 to 1? I mean, that's a textbook definition of buyers being in absolute total control.
So the big money is in. That's pillar number 1, check. But huge volume is only half the picture. We also have to see if the stock's internal engine, its momentum, is actually revving up to confirm the move. And when we look at the charts from the source, the indicators are screaming that the trend is about to flip. Okay, before we jump into the charts, let's quickly talk about something called bullish divergence. Sounds a little technical, but it's super simple. Imagine a car that's still rolling slightly downhill, but you can hear the engine starting to rev up. That's bullish divergence. The stock's price might be making a new low, but its internal strength, the momentum indicator, is actually starting to climb. It's a classic warning sign that a U-turn could be right around the corner. And would you look at that? Here it is playing out perfectly on the daily chart. You can see right as the price was bottoming out, the momentum indicator underneath it was already starting to trend higher. That is the exact bullish divergence we were just talking about. But here's the real kicker. This isn't just a theory. According to the data, when this exact pattern has shown up for BMNR in the past, it has led to an average rally of, get this, 42% in the weeks that followed. History doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. Now let's zoom out a bit to the weekly chart, because the picture gets even more interesting. The analysis shows that on this longer time frame, momentum has turned up from a multi-year low. At the same time, you can see the price is pushing right up against that long-term downtrend line. It's like a coiled spring, just getting tighter and tighter, ready to pop. And the story stays the same even when we drill down to a shorter time frame, the 4-hour chart. Here, the momentum indicator built a super strong floor, a triple bottom, before it exploded higher. This is what's called a continuation setup, which suggests the stock might just be catching its breath before the next big move up. So, we have the institutional value, check. We have the technical momentum, check. But there's a third and absolutely crucial piece to this whole puzzle, the incredibly powerful link between BMNR's stock price and, you guessed it, the price of Ethereum. The 90-day correlation between BMNR and Ethereum is 0.92, or, to put it another way, 92%. So what does that actually mean? It means that a jaw-dropping 92% of BMNR's daily price swings can be explained by what Ethereum is doing.
For all intents and purposes, the market is now treating BMNR like a leveraged bet on ETH. It's like Ethereum on steroids.
And this slide shows what the analysis calls the slingshot effect. When Ethereum dropped 23%, BMNR fell harder by 33%, about 1.4 times the drop. But look at the upside. When Ethereum recovered just 3.6%, BMNR rocketed up 25%. That's almost 7 times the move to the upside. It shows you how when that sentiment flips, you can get these absolutely explosive moves.
And if all that wasn't enough, there's another layer of conviction to add to the pile. Ethereum itself is reportedly forming its own classic bullish pattern. The source material is pointing to a setup that projects a price target for Ethereum somewhere between $4,200 and $4,500. So, if the main asset is getting ready for a big move, what do you think that means for its leveraged cousin?
All right, let's bring this all home. We've got the volume, we've got the momentum, and we've got that powerful crypto correlation. Now let's look at the specific chart pattern for BMNR itself and map out the potential path to that $60 target. And wouldn't you know it, just like Ethereum, BMNR is forming its own classic bullish pattern, the inverse head and shoulders. The critical level here, the line in the sand that everyone is watching, is the $42 neckline. A strong move above that price is the technical trigger that could kick off the whole move. So where does $60 come from? It's not just a random guess. There's some simple math behind it. Step 1, you identify the pattern. Check. Step 2, you measure the distance from the bottom of the pattern, the head, at $28, up to that breakout neckline at $42. That's a $14 move. Step 3, you add that same distance to the breakout point. So 42 plus 14 gives you a textbook target of $56, with the analysis noting other potential resistance around that $60 mark.
Okay, let's take a quick step back and put it all together. The bullish case we've just deconstructed is really built on 4 distinct pillars of evidence.
First, that massive institutional-grade volume spike. Second, you have the bullish momentum shift happening across all the key timeframes. Third, there's that super tight correlation to Ethereum, which gives it that slingshot-like leverage to the upside. And finally, you have a classic textbook chart pattern that gives us a measured technical target right around $60. So when you lay out all the pieces of the puzzle, the evidence from the source material really does point to a significant move being underway. The patterns have formed, the data is there. The only question this analysis really leaves us with is $60 the right target? Or could a breakout like this go even higher?